Let's be real for a second, you're not gonna memorize all these changes that came with the latest patch in Dragon Ball FighterZ. 1.13 has affected all the characters, but not all the changes are that significant. So maybe over time you will learn all the changes, but you're not gonna do it today. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. So with this video, I hope to give you the highlights, the biggest nerfs and the biggest buffs, the things that you need to keep in mind as you jump back into Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, all these characters, they have had small or no changes at all. And by small changes, I mean there might have been some bug fixes, but nothing you would feel in the heat of a match. So I'm not going to even mention any of these characters throughout this video. So let's get down to it. Starting with the nerfs, we have 5 big nerfs that came to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Number 5, the weakest nerf of them all, Gotenks. After his level 3, Gotenks will only recover after landing. This means he can no longer throw that Ki Blast on O-Ki, which gave him a couple more options, especially in the corner. But since he recovers right after landing, he can still safe jump, he can still go into empty lows, into overheads. It's not that big of a nerf at all, and in fact, Gotenks might just be the strongest character in Dragon Ball FighterZ right now, despite him getting nerfed like this, because the other top tier characters got hit a lot harder. At number 4, we have Kid Buu with also a very small change. His Buu ball on the ground has increased startup. Now the difference is very, very small, but what this means is that Kid Buu is going to have to run with slightly longer assists. If you're not a Kid Buu main, you won't feel this difference at all. I mean, if you're just blocking, it's pretty much the same thing. But if you are a Kid Buu main, you might have to look at your team and make some adjustments. And number 3, Teen Gohan. Teen Gohan initially actually looks like a buff. I myself thought it was a buff, but trust me, it is not a buff. Teen Gohan got nerfed, and he got hit pretty hard. So the big change is the auto combo. The second hit of the auto combo now raises Gohan very, very high, which is exciting because now he has all of these options for mix-up. He has a ton of overheads before he lands. Plus, the auto combo now changed the effect on hit, which just gave Teen Gohan a free side switch. That's right, if you do the auto combo and delay the super dash a little bit, you can side switch for free. All of this sounds like great news, but it comes with a big, big cost. If you land the second hit of the auto combo, you will have land recovery. What this means is that after Teen Gohan lands, he's gonna be vulnerable for a while, and a while is actually a very, very long time. He will lose to mashing opponents, so all those overhead options you just saw, worthless. Because everyone watching this video now knows that if you want to block Teen Gohan after the second hit of an auto combo, you just have to stand up. You just have to stay blocking, stand up, and as soon as he lands, punish him for that. Unless he covers that with an assist. I mean, that is always an option, but it is definitely a nerf, and Teen Gohan players are not happy. And number 2, the nerf we all wanted to see, Bardock's level 3 increased recovery on hit and also changed the distance from the opponent after landing the level 3. So mid-screen, Bardock kinda lost his O-Ki. In the corner, still has a pretty good O-Ki, just doesn't have that disgusting 50-50 that he used to have. It's a fair change. Bardock is still a solid character, but he did lose one of his biggest weapons, one of his biggest strengths. That said, I think we'll still see a lot of Bardock players out there. And the biggest nerf in this patch is, in my opinion, to Android 16, and it all starts with his assist. His assist used to be very, very good. The block stun has been decreased though, which means he's not going to work in a lot of teams anymore. He's got a very, very fast assist now, which means a lot of block strings with other characters might not be true. You might have to look into making some changes to your team if you're running Android 16. And that is not all. Quadricycle backward special made it a multi-hit move. Actually, they nerfed the damage, but outside of that, it's not a big deal. It's not a move that's used a lot in combos. It's mostly used in block strings as it is plus on block, and it still is plus on block. The biggest change, however, comes in his level 3. Look at how far the opponent lands after the level 3. What this means is no more cross-ups in the corner. It doesn't matter if you end your combo with a command grab, because 16's level 3 now fully pushes the opponent into the corner, which is only fair. Let's be real. And that's it for nerfs. Let's move on to the list of buffs. And on this list, we have 13 characters that received minor to major buffs. And we start at number 13 with Krillin, whose Solar Flare has reduced recovery on whiff or block. So if you're using this on a block string, Krillin is able to move a little bit faster. The change is not that big, but just like Kid Buu now has increased startup on the Buu ball and that affects the assists he can bring into battle, this also allows Krillin to bring faster assists into his team and keep his block strings true. Kind of the same deal with number 12 Nappa here, who can plant Cyberman a bit faster. Again, not that big of a difference, but that's going to allow Nappa to run with different teams. Number 11 is Fat Buu. Fat Buu has had a couple of adjustments on his 5M. The pushback has been reduced, and his 5H, which starts 1 frame sooner, so not that big of a deal, but it changed the movement speed. Look how far he moves with his 5H. So with these two move changes, Fat Poo might just have opened up some new combo possibilities. It's easier to follow up after the 5M since it doesn't push the opponent back as far as it used to, and it's easier to confirm into 5H since it just moves much further ahead. Android 21 received a similar change to her 5M pushback. It's also been decreased, which means it's easier to follow up with other stuff. But the big change to Android 21 is her air level 3. She recovers a lot faster after the level 3 is over, giving her a lot better OK in the corner. Now the opponent does land further away from Android 21 if you're on the mid screen, so the OK might not be as strong. But since this is Android 21 we're talking about, she's gonna extend combos until she's in the corner. This is where you'll see most of her level 3s, and now she's got a much better OK. At number 9 we have Trunks, whose sword attack is now no longer vulnerable to down heavy. Only the light and the heavy versions though. The medium version is still vulnerable to 2H. That's just gonna make using this ability a lot safer for Trunks because it no longer can be punished like that. And also there's a slight increase in the grab range for his level 3. As you can see, the grab range is kinda small, but it will be more noticeable if the opponent is on a sliding knockdown because you'll be able to do his level 3 from situations where you weren't able to before. At number 8 we have Frieza, whose Destructo discs have changed the effect if they hit on the way back. If they hit the opponent from behind, they will now be put into a sliding knockdown. His off the ground level 3 was also buffed. It's a little bit slower to start, it's a small increase, but it deals more damage now. At number 7 we have Goku Blue, and you know those times when Goku Blue hits you with a command grab and you're like, oh yeah, Goku Blue has a command grab, I completely forgot about that. Well, my guess is we're gonna see a lot more Goku Blue players using the command grab now because it teleports before attacking. It just has a lot more range. It's a lot easier to land this, even though it has increased startup now. It's easier to react to. That's a fair change. Overall, I still think it's a buff. It's just gonna make Goku Blue block strings that much trickier. At number 6, we have Piccolo, who has a bunch of small little changes. And these small little changes basically come down to some of his moves have decreased startup, meaning they're faster, and increased hitbox, meaning it's easier to land them. Now, each change on its own, it's not that significant, but all of them put together in a character that, in my opinion, didn't really need a buff, puts Piccolo this high on the list of buffs, because there's a lot of changes here. At number 5, we have Hit, who received a buff to his first level 1. And the biggest difference I can point out to you is that if you were in the corner and you did this level 1 with Hit, and you wanted to follow up with another super, Hit would always cross up to the opponent's back, and then the other super would take the opponent out of the corner. This is no longer the case, because they changed the timing, so you can launch Hit into the super and call an assist before the animation plays out. And that way you can keep the opponent in the corner and the animation just looks really cool. Also, they fixed the bug where he broke the game, so overall this might be a nerf, but come on, it's a bug, we're not gonna count that. Number 4, we have Tien, who reduced the landing recovery on his dropping knee move. This is gonna give him a lot more high-low mix-up options. Since he recovers faster, he can just mix you up faster. And his level 3 has been altered. The damage distribution has changed, and changed for the better. If Tien spends all 7 bars, he'll deal exactly the same damage, but if he spends less bars, he'll actually deal a lot more. So if a Tien is about to finish you off with his level 3, he might spend less bars than he needed to before. And the health cost is still exactly the same, so overall big buff for Tien. After the love he got the last patch, he's getting more love now. They really want Tien in tournaments. At number 3, Vegito Blue got an interesting buff. You can now jump cancel his jumping to H. Now this is day 1 of the patch, so some combos are still coming in, but for now this seems to be a 100 damage increase for his combos at the cost of some meter. I'm sure we'll see more combos in the future, but the biggest thing this means for Vegito is, in my opinion, the fact that he can now side switch without spending any meter. I don't think this works on small characters, but most of the roster isn't small, so he's gonna be able to side switch without using any meter at all. Also, his level 1 super in the air got a little bit of damage increase. Number 2, Adult Gohan. The last character that I expected to see in the list of buffs is this high on the list. And initially, it looked like Adult Gohan was gonna be nerfed, but no. What happened here was not a nerf at all. Adult Gohan did lose his 5H because it now pushes the opponent very far away. So Adult Gohan players are gonna have to change their block string. They can't 5H into 2H, like that's gone. But what that means is that you just have to remove the 5H from the block string and everything else still works. In fact, 2H has reduced the amount that Gohan moves, but his block string still works perfectly, and in fact, I've already seen a 0 bar touch of death with a 2H reaction, and it seems that his leg loops now work on any character, big or small. And in my opinion, that is not a bad trade at all. Adult Gohan players definitely won in this patch. Their block strings are going to be smaller because they can't use the 5H anymore, but the 2H actually got a buff. Also, if you charge his potential unleashed, it will deal more damage. Still not enough damage in my opinion to use the charged potential unleashed. So this last change I think is just meaningless. And at the number 1, make no mistake, this is the patch that made Beerus good. First up, the orb setup. It's a little bit faster, but not that much. What made Beerus good are the patch notes that came after that. His diving punch move is so much faster. So much faster. This means that Beerus can now get a sliding knockdown without assists, without any help, because he can combo into his quarter circle backwards medium. Not only that, the heavy attack version, this just looks like the Goku overhead punch. And if that wasn't enough, his DP now is also a lot faster, and it has armor in the middle of the move. The worst DP in the game might have just moved up a few ranks, because it can be used on the ground and in the air. Don't forget, Beerus has an aerial DP, and it's now that much more reliable. Also, if that wasn't enough to convince you that Beerus is now good, after his level 3, his recovery is a lot better. Remember the 50-50 that Bardock lost? I think it went to Beerus. Beerus can now safe jump after level 3. Now obviously this is in the corner because mid-screen Beerus just blows the opponent away. You're gonna have to run the entire screen before you do any Yoki whatsoever. But in the corner though, Beerus now has safe jump 50-50s after level 3. And those were the biggest changes to characters. There were, though, some changes to the system mechanics as well. First off, if you react to a super dash with a vanish, it will no longer catch you like this. That's been fixed. That is probably one of my favorite things about this patch. Previously, it was a little bit random. Super Dash would win against Vanish sometimes it wouldn't. Now it seems that Vanish will win most of the time. And also, if someone does a Dragon Rush in the air, and this is something that used to piss me off, because let's say Goku here. Goku's 2H, it puts Goku in the air, right? So if you try to punish an aerial Dragon Rush with a 2H, you'll actually be putting Goku in the Dragon Rush, which is dumb. So I'm glad they made the aerial Dragon Rush vulnerable to 2H. Now you can punish the crap out of that. And those are the patch changes that matter. But hey, if you think there are some other patch changes that you actually think are important, feel free to correct me in the comments down below. But as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.